On the contrary, I'm saner than I ever was. Here's your look at the NECA Loot Crate exclusive Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Donatello, the Dark Turtle. After being accidentally exposed to radioactive ooze, 4 ordinary household pets are transformed into a band of wisecracking, pizza-loving, villain-dicing adolescent reptiles. Meet Leonardo, the super-cool sword-wielding leader, Raphael, the hot head-hurling manholes and one-liners in rapid succession, Donatello, the brain behind the brawn, and Michelangelo, the ice-cream pizza-gobbling party animal. Whether it's facing fierce enemies or saving humanity from near extinction, with the guidance of their sensei, these heroes in a half-shell are always ready for straight out of the sewer action. Just before we get a closer look at Donatello, the Dark Turtle, an update to my earlier unboxing of the newest Loot Crate. I say newest. We're all laughing when we say that. The newest Loot Crate, though, limited edition Series 2 crate number 4 that actually included both Donatello, the Dark Turtle, and Scrag. If you had seen my video of that, you know that there was a lot of things that were missing. And to go back and check it again, I think I was missing a t-shirt, I was missing the Pizza Alien oven mitts, and I was also missing the license plate. So if I add that all up, I'm missing like 3 things from that box that we got in the newest. We jokingly say that. Donatello at least was included, the Dark Turtle, and at least I got myself the Scrag. I don't want to consider it a win because I still ultimately wanted to have the rest of the things inside, but I think I would have been more ultimately disappointed by not getting either one of the figures or having none of the figures packaged inside. That being said, we're going to get a closer look finally at Donatello, the Dark Turtle. Many of the reviews already of this guy are online because many people already had gotten this box. I had to wait a tad bit longer. Anyways, though, to make a short story long, we're going to go and measure off to the very top of Donatello here. Donatello has now ears on the top of his mask, so that's going to give him a little bit more height over his other brothers. The figure stands about 5.5 inches in height, or the figure's 14 centimeters tall. Having also a Donatello would have been ideal for comparisons here, but considering that Donatello is already dressed up here as a superhero, I did want to bring it at least in another turtle so you can see the differences. Size-wise, they're not that much different from one another. I mean, again, Donatello would have had the ears on the top of his now cowl, but if you put them back to back with, say, the likes of Raphael, the figures are going to be about the same. Also, as well, they're using similar body parts. It looks like they're using the similar biceps, similar shoulders, and a lot of the same leg components are likely carried over here as well. And also, I can bring in April O'Neil, too. That normally April would be, a little bit taller than that, but you can see that Donatello now with ears is not that much shorter, really, than April O'Neil. Donatello, by the way, as the Dark Turtle, actually comes from Season 7, Episode 14, entitled Night of the Dark Turtle, in which Donatello goes on a rampage in the hopes of bringing down the Shredder. And he takes some cues from the comic books to design the suit that we're looking at right here, and he also comes included with some extra accessories. One accessory that he can carry in his hand, although these hands right now aren't really the best for holding that, is he comes included with a little turtle gas canister. He actually uses this to escape the sewer lair when the rest of his brothers are trying to keep him away from at least going after Shredder. He throws this down and this proceeds to spin, and it releases all this gas from the sides, kind of the side feet there. You can see how there's holes on all the sides where normally a turtle's legs would be. Nice detailing, really, for the size of this. You also see as well they've put in some clean-looking panel lining, and you can see little tiny beady yellow eyes on the end of the turtle. Again, this does fit in his hand. Not really these hands. I mean, you can use the plastic that are there already and pry them away from the palm to kind of then get the gas capsule turtle and fit that into his hand. You can use that hand, or he also comes included with this hand as well. Now, this hand almost seems more so suitable for Raphael, for example. You can kind of still wedge it in between it, and it looks like he's sort of more holding it upright. Kind of like this hand, but it does look like it's a carryover or a reuse of the earlier looked at Raphael. So it's somewhat ironic I brought Raphael in for comparison. The turtle also comes included with a high five hand, in case, again, you did want to use those instead. Likely, I'm probably just going to be swapping out this hand with, I guess this hand right here, thumbsies go in. I'm going to use this hand instead, I think, for displaying the Dark Turtle. That pretty much makes up all of his accessories, though, but it doesn't make the figure any bit more diminished. He's actually a really cool-looking figure. More of a one-shot than anything else. I like the idea, at least we did get this in exclusive. Not so super crazy about the idea, though, that this was a Loot Crate exclusive. I wish, if anything, that this could have been an exclusive by other means. having already had the, I don't want to say the nightmare of dealing with Lootcrate for the last little while of actually waiting for their boxes to finally arrive. I have to say, though, I am happy with looking at now Donatello the Dark Turtle, picking the figure up and getting a closer look at him. He's got some really cool features going on here. First of all, he's certainly a little bit more angrier than maybe an earlier looked at Donatello we looked at here on this channel. You can see inside his mouth is the tongue. The tongue is pink, and though you can see as well, the inside of his mouth is sort of more of a tomato red. He's got very bright orange eyes. It does well to pop against the backdrop of the very black cowl, the pointed cowl that he's also wearing as his mask. Unlike a normal Donatello, though, that would have had the little knot on the end of his bandana, this one does not have it. What it does rather have instead is a kind of strange little plug here in the back, where this has actually been put into it, almost as if this was been a place where the knot of the bandana would have actually plugged into the back of the figure's head. But still, it's got some nice sculpting going on for it. Paint's very clean, at least from just the head alone. And then, of course, he does have his cape. The cape is sort of more of a felt material. It's purple on the inside. It's black on the outside. I'm stating, again, all the obvious points. But it does have a wire frame. That's something you may not be aware of. It has a wire frame that runs from the middle center section that has the dark turtle symbol. And it jets out from there as a wire frame. And it runs all the way down the side of the cape, or along the bottom of the cape, too. So you can get in some really interesting poses. I might actually just have it displayed where the dark turtle is sort of kind of looking off to the moonlight, and have his cape kind of blowing up to the side or the corner there. Really like the look of that. I love the idea that they actually took the time to put a wire frame in there instead of just a loose cape. The material is also a good quality that they used as well, and they've done a pretty good job of actually stitching in the wire frame so it doesn't look like it's going to be sticking out at all. Then, of course, you've got the gray outfit underneath. There is cell shading that they've still managed to put on there. So darker shadowing is on the back of Donatello's body here, mostly in the arms. You've got the brighter on the front, but then you've got the darker areas kind of inside and also on the back there, shell. The shell also looks like, just to bring back in Raphael here, it looks like it's the same shell that they would have then used, but the belt is obviously very different, not only in the thickness, not only in the color, but also the fact that the Dark Turtle also includes sort of a utility belt with all the extra gas capsules, all the little turtles on the ends of them. Now, to compare this with the actual canister, the one that he actually has as a standalone accessory, this one's a lot bigger, obviously, than the ones you're seeing across his belt. He's got one in the middle, which I guess is more of a belt buckle, and then he's got ones on the side, but they are smaller than the one he actually carries around by hand. It does have some nice panel lining also added there on the front of his legs, the front of his chest as well, and also in the biceps to accent all the muscles that Donatello would have had. I like the use of also the panel lining here of purple, that he has it just on the trim of the end of the glove. He also has it down below on his boots, but it looks like the boot color of purple is slightly a darker shade than the color that he has on the top of the glove. Again, it's overall a good-looking figure. Maybe this may not have been something that would have been suitable as a retail release, considering the likelihood of a character like this not being recognized right away by many casual collectors of the turtle figures. He certainly would have deserved to be, I think, not a Lootcrate exclusive, but an exclusive to some extent, whether it be a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, a New York Comic-Con exclusive, somewhere along those lines. I think this guy should have been released, not necessarily as a subscription box system. For the articulation on this guy, it's going to be pretty much the same as all the other turtles we've looked at before. So his head is on a ball joint, but I've noticed, like with the ball joint, it seems like the neck sits really far up. You can probably see it as I'm moving the neck up a little bit. I've tried my best to push it down, but it looks like there's a bit of a gap between the neck and the rest of the cape. Maybe it's because the cape is leaving sort of a gap in between the neck and the rest of his body. The figure, though, either way has an upper torso, well, an upper head articulation point. You can move it all the way around, up, down, left, and right. And the reason why I'm holding the neck, obviously, is if I was to do that, it'd only ultimately then be moving the neck instead. But he's got essentially like a ball joint here. He's got a ball joint up here as well. Shoulders do come out. And I did notice on this side of the figure's body, I'm going to probably have to heat that up with hot water or even a hairdryer, because the joints, not only on the shoulders, but also in the elbows, are extremely tight. Once loose, though, you can actually bring the arms up. But again, like they're very tight on this figure. I'd much rather tight joints than super loose joints. The figure does have a bicep swivel. The figure does have a double hinge, or a single hinge, I should say, in the elbow. He has no articulation here in the glove. It seems to be just a continued sculpt from the rest of his forearm. But he does have at least a swivel in the hands. You can rotate those all the way around and hinge them back and forth. Donatello, like the earlier release, also doesn't have an upper torso ball joint. But it's a little harder to actually kind of move things around because, of course, you're going to have to deal with the cape. You're also going to have to deal with the shell. But he does technically have an upper torso ball joint. It's just really hard to move. Figure does also possess a ball joint on inside of each of his thighs. You can hinge the legs out. doing a heroic splits on the figure. You can take the legs and move them forward. You can move them back. A mild swivel at the top of the thigh. A double hinge on the knee, which is nice to see. And then the figure does have not only a hinge up and down on his ankle, but you can also rock it back and forth as well. Just in case you're all also curious, he does also have sockets or holes on the bottoms of his feet. So if you did want to put him in a dynamic pose and you're worried about this figure falling over, yeah, just use yourself a display stand. It's not available necessarily with this figure, but it's something that NECA certainly does sell as a standalone item. Just again, put down the Dark Turtle Donatello, bring back in a Raphael, just again for comparisons. Again, I probably should have brought in a Donatello now that I really think about it, because again, like Donatello's dressed up here as a superhero, but I guess it probably makes still some sense to bring in at least a regular turtle. So you can see that they are using a lot of the same mold components. The arms, the legs, maybe also as well the torso. Again, the only thing that's missing obviously is the front of the shell, heroes in a half shell. And one thing also I did want to do is I wanted to bring in the darker color scheme turtles. Even though this is technically season 7, Donatello is sporting a more darker colored skin here. And I think if you have the original turtles would have the more darker swamp colored green, this Donatello as the Dark Turtle blends in a little bit better, works a little bit better to have him on display with the earlier released turtles. Donatello, the Dark Turtle, is definitely a figure I don't think that belongs on a peg in a store. The likely casual collectors are probably going to pass this one by. Maybe kids would be picking up a superhero turtle, but I don't think a casual collector would recognize right away that this is from a season 7 episode in which Donatello dresses up as a turtle. This one definitely suits better being an exclusive. I'm just going to stop myself by saying it right there. As an exclusive, though, to a convention. This guy should have gotten released, but he should have been released as a convention exclusive, not necessarily a subscription box. Normally, I'd be all for the idea of a subscription box having things that are exclusive to them, but having had the nightmare that I've had over the last year of getting these boxes from Lootcrate, they've either arrived way too late, or when they have arrived, they've arrived with things missing. At the time that I actually did the unboxing of the Lootcrate Series 2 box number 4, I want to make sure I remember all that, I didn't know at the time of unboxing it what exactly was missing, but then sure enough, when I went back afterwards and I looked online, I was missing the t-shirt, I was missing the alien oven mitt, and I was missing also the license plate. Considering that's 6 items in the box and I only got half those items, either Lootcrate should have either delayed the box until they had fulfillment of all the other things that they got, because I don't think it's right necessarily that they shipped the box to some people that subscribed and that those subscribers got everything in the box. Another subscriber may have got some of the things in the box, and in my case, I actually got half the contents in the box. They definitely need something to do better with the way they had their subscription model. I don't know what they did exactly to their subscription service that resulted in having so many things missing inside. Ultimately, I'm still happy that I did get the Donatello Dark Turtle and I did get the Scrag. If either of those were missing, I would have had even more of an upsetting experience from Lootcrate. I'm still upset the fact that I was missing things, but at least I got the figures that I wanted. Donatello is a great looking figure though. Not only if you like turtles, but if you also like superheroes, it does meld the two together rather nicely. Donatello has a really cool looking cape. One of my favorite things about this figure is the fact he does have a wireframe cape. The coloring is bright in the purple on the inside, black on the outside, and I love the idea that they actually included the little turtle gas capsule. What do you guys think of this figure? Let me know down below in the comment section. And if you've also been one of those people that did subscribe to the Loot Crate, let me know your experiences down below in the comment section. Have you gotten the boxes on time? Probably not. And when you did eventually get your boxes, what things were missing inside? Did you just recently get also the box number 4? And if you did, what were the things that were missing inside your box? Let me know down below in the comment section. Certainly as well, if you enjoyed this video, hit it with a like. If you're loving the content you guys are seeing and do certainly want to stick around for more, then make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and that you also turn on the bell notification. As always, guys, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.